are now, just over 80 months out from that World Cup.
Yeah.
The changes made, incoming, the man hopefully to lead us to Ashes glory and then World Cup glory is Shaun Wane. Funnily enough, a man I feel many supporters of other teams than Wigan may have not been the biggest fan of when he was in charge of the Warriors. But strangely enough, the same group of supporters that would be on him are now supporting him, and I've called for him for a long time to be England coach.
Yeah.
And I think that's for many reasons. I think he's a really good big game coach. I think how many League Leader Shields did Wigan win? It was three maybe?
Three grand final wins while he was
and that's the thing, he's a big game coach, and International Rugby League it's not many matches, but when they do come around, everything's on them, and he's the man that's going to get England fired up. And
he's a real disciplinarian and a motivator as well, I think, which I think is one thing that's going to be key for England now. A lot of those players in that England squad will have just come off the back of that GB tour, and I imagine will associate the international game with those losses and be somewhat deflated possibly on the back of it. And Shaun Wane is the perfect person to be like, right, forget that, put that to the back of your minds. We've got a job here to do in 18 months. We want to win this World Cup. And he will literally be the coach that physically picks them up and gets them going again. At the same time, like I said, he's a disciplinarian. He'll cut those errors, those penalties, hopefully out of the game. I think that's one thing that he'll probably focus on. And he'll look at his record in developing players as well and getting the best out of them at Wigan. How many academy players did he give debuts to at Wigan? So many. I can't remember the number. There were so many players that came through that system as a result of Shaun Wane, and so many that have hit the heights of their careers because of him. And that's no fluke. That's no fluke that the players he was bringing through, most of them were successes. That's down to him and the way he coaches and his eye for sort of talent spotting. I think since he left Wigan, he's had a couple of different jobs. He was working with Scottish Rugby Union once, looking at their player sort of development pathway, I think, and he's done some. I think he's done some motivational speaking as well, which again says a lot about the man. So I think he's going to be the perfect person not only to rejuvenate and regalvanise that squad, but also to say if you have got a few players who are sort of outside bets to make the squad, perhaps bring them in and get them to that level where they need to be. So I think it's a brilliant appointment. I really do. I think he was the perfect man for the job. Yeah,
he's going to bring the pride back into the jersey. He's going to. Every single player that goes out there under a Shaun Wane coached England team will know that this is everything. They'll know that they've got to leave everything out on that field. And it'll bring the pride back into the jersey, and that's really what we need. We need to go out there, and I think you looked at, again, try not to roll it into one, but you looked at the Great Britain team that played Papua New Guinea, and you looked at what it meant to that Papua New Guinea team. They were the national anthem. They
won that game through the heart.
Yeah, and it's the same with Tonga, and you just want that for England as well. You want that for Great Britain as well. You want them to know exactly what it means to pull on that jersey. It's a be all and end all, and you leave everything out on that field. And Shaun Wane is definitely the man who's gonna provide that.
You see it a lot with teams in all sports, really. If the players are invested in playing for the side and are passionate about it, and so are the fans. And if you weren't that, and I don't think many English fans were at that Papua New Guinea game, like you said, but they would have been so drowned out by the sheer excitement and passion that those PNG fans, expressed and displayed when supporting their nation. And I think that, perhaps one of the reasons that's gone from the English fans somewhat. We know how passionate we can be. Just look at the football, the last Football World Cup. That sort of left English Rugby League fans in recent years. We've just sort of had this idea that we're never gonna, be in contention or sort of topple the Aussies. And I think we saw it somewhat when we got to that World Cup final. Was that there was suddenly this real excitement about it, like, oh my word, we're in a World Cup final, we're 80 minutes from winning the World Cup here.
Yeah.
And that, I think that's probably the only time in a long while where we've seen excitement and so much passion around the jersey. So that will probably be one of the big things that Wane looks to implement. And like I said, what better man to to bring that in and rejuvenate.
And on Jackson Hastings and Blake Austin, what happens to them now?
It's a weird one, isn't it? You'd expect if they'd have kept Wayne Bennett as coach, I'd imagine that those two would still be very much in the picture. But with it being Shaun Wane and how much he has championed and backed the British Super League players, you can see them not having any sort of involvement, full stop, can't you? I think another big factor in that as well is the fact that Kevin Sinfield has left his role.
Yeah.
With the national team as well, and I know he was a big advocate of having Hastings and Austin in that setup and including them. I think it was sort of like the mentality of if they're good enough and they're eligible and they want to play, then they can. Despite perhaps not knowing exactly what that England jersey means, and that's the reason why I think Wayne could well just drop them from the side.
Yeah.
You look at the halfbacks we've got instead of them. We've got Gareth Widdop, George Williams, Johnny Lomax being the big three. We've got a few odds coming through as well. I know Danny Richardson obviously and Jake Truman.
Yeah.
There's a young lad at Wigan as well, Harry Smith, who I imagine Shaun Wane will know a lot about. So there's a lot of players there that are going to be challenging. Even if we were to include Hastings and Austin anyway, there's so many players there challenging for those two positions that you couldn't even guarantee them spots anyway. I mean, Austin didn't really play unless they were on the wing.
Yeah,
for GB.
Well, that's the other thing. He's going to play players in position. You feel?
Definitely.
We're not going to see that scenario, the famous Blake Austin on the wing scenario. What are we really going to see John Bateman like in the centres?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think we're going to see players in their position. I think we're going to see players picked on form, and I think we're going to see an England team.
Yeah, we might not play the prettiest game. We might not be as expansive as Wayne Bennett wanted us to be, or play to those sort of block plays that that's very much the Aussie style. But you can guarantee that we're going to be gritty, and we're going to try our best to win the arm wrestle. That's what you're going to get with Shaun Wane as coach. Wigan did it for years, and look at the success they had. So I think that's what you can probably expect, is that we'll probably go back to basics, play it up the middle, look to win the arm wrestle, and then let the backs do their magic.
Yeah, and I think he's coming in at such an exciting time for English Rugby League.
Oh yeah.
An Ashes series against Australia, 3 matches on home soil, and then following that a World Cup.
Yeah. It's
such an exciting time to be an England Rugby League fan with Shaun Wane coming in. In one word, on both questions,
right. Okay.
Do England beat Australia in the Ashes, and do England win the World Cup?
That's 2 very big questions. Does it have to be a yes or no?
Well, you can have 10 words on both.
I can have 10 words on both, right. 2-1 Ashes victory over the Aussies, I'm going to say. So I think we will beat them in the Ashes. And I'm also going to say reach the World Cup final. I think we'll reach the final.
Any say on whether we'll win that final?
I'm going to let fate run its course. I'm not going to say anything.
I actually agree with you on both.
All right.
I actually agree. I think we'll beat Australia. I don't think they're as strong as they have been in previous years. Obviously, I lost a lot of the core players, Slater, Thurston, Cronk, etc., etc. And the World Cup, I think it is big for us to be on home soil.
Yeah.
And again, I feel like Shaun Wane's coming in at a point where internationally we've hit probably a new low, especially that Papua New Guinea game.
Yeah.
And so many of those players who are involved are going to be so determined to bring that back and to put England Rugby League in the headlines for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And I think Shaun Wane will achieve that. Let us know what you think of Shaun Wane's appointment. Are you happy for him to be in charge? What sort of team do you think he'll pick? Sum up Wayne Bennett's tenure, actually. Do you think he was successful as England coach? I think we probably know the answer as Great Britain coach. And guys, just let us know what you think of all of it. Are England in a position now to really challenge Australia? Can we win the Ashes? Can we win the World Cup? Like, subscribe, and let us know your thoughts. We'll see you next time.